Hello everybody and welcome to High Plane Games. My name's Simon and welcome to Everything, a game that's out on PS4, PC and I believe Xbox as well. And I don't think this is a game that's for everyone, and I think it could be one of those games that absolutely divides people 50-50, and that's no good thing or a bad thing. It's just the way how the game has been designed to be extremely like an artistic impression and a thought-provoking piece, rather than being a game that you dive into and play. I can't even liken it to something like Journey or anything like that, which is what a lot of people think of when they think of like arty projects. This is so freeform and so abstract. It's a little bit cray-cray. So, in Everything, you can literally play as everything. So currently I'm this wonderful little elk. And as you go through the world, you can basically become everything. I like the way how they don't walk. They just literally flick and roll around. And you can speed yourself up if you want and slow yourself down, and so on and so forth. So, you get more powers as you go along. So, I can... Once I can multiply myself out. And I can control all of these people, or I can de-horde myself from a group, or I can go around and sing and chant, or actually I could put us into a nice little dance. And the dance that everyone seems to do in this game is of the figure of 8, almost like the infinity ring. And the infinity figure of 8, I think, is very central and very integral to the plot of Everything as a device. So I don't necessarily need to be just elk or deer. In fact, let's come out of this. The whole kind of gameplay, let's get rid of all my beautiful elk, is, see on the very top you've got like this little all-seeing eye that's going around. It points you in the direction of things that you have yet to become, or thoughts and feelings of things that you may or may not have become yet, or sound bites from a narrator. And the idea is that, there we go, I've not become this yet. You can flick and become everything. So now I'm oak, and I've unlocked 16% of my trees so far. So as an oak tree, I can also move around. I can also sing and get other people on board with me. And some trees might like that. Other trees might get scared of that. They seem to quite like it over here, which is quite good. Oh, there's some sad trees over there. I don't know why it's sad. It's a Douglas fir. But they are slightly higher. Now, across the world, you also get these wonderful things here.
Now, we come here to an extremely important principle, which is the different points of view you get when you change your level of magnification. That is to say, you can look at something with a microscope and see it a certain way. You can look at it with the naked eye and see it in a certain way. You look at it with a telescope and you see it in another way. Now, which level of magnification is the correct one? Well, obviously, they're all correct, but they're just different points of view. When we examine our bloodstreams under a microscope, we see there's one hell of a fight going on. All sorts of microorganisms are chewing each other up. And if we got overly fascinated with our view of our own bloodstreams in the microscope, we should start taking sides, which would be fatal, because the health of our organism depends on the continuance of this battle. What is, in other words, conflict at one level of magnification is harmony at a higher level. Now, could it possibly be, therefore, that we, with all our problems, conflicts, neuroses, sicknesses, political outrages, wars, tortures, and everything that goes on in human life, are a state of conflict which can be seen in a larger perspective as a situation of harmony.
So I'm just disbanding those other birds. They can go and play. I can rejoin them back up again and form myself a little hummingbird posse. So you get those transcripts, and the name of the guy has completely escaped me, so I really apologise for that. But he narrates all different parts of the journey throughout everything. And you also get thoughts and feelings from various different organisms, be it live, animals, trees, plants, and all of that kind of thing. And so the idea of this, and let's take it to the nth degree, is that you can kind of magnify yourself up and down. You can also grow up and down as well. But then it becomes a point where actually you can choose to ascend to a higher magnification of stuff. So I zoom right the way out to actually becoming planets if I want to. And let's become an ice continent. And we can move around. We can actually go down into the sea if we wanted to. Or, I've not been able to... Ooh, there we go. So this is big enough to do it. It then zooms out again so that actually we become planets. And so the beauty of what everything is that it takes everything on scale. So you can zoom out and to push together particles and things together, but it also becomes very cyclic, because at the point where galaxies and things like that are starting to combine, it's almost like you start creating the Big Bang again, and then you work yourself right the way back to actually all of this being part of an atom, and then you start becoming to grow again and become a fully formed species. And that's why I keep saying that everything to do with everything, the game, is really, really cyclic, because and follows that infinity chain, because it's like a weird science and philosophy convergence wrapped in an absolute crap ton of highbrow philosophy. And that may work for some people, it may not work for others. This is your life, Simon. Through it you will go without ever knowing for a second of what the future and what it will hold. In it you'll hear the stories of other lives. Some will be less fortunate than you, others more. Some stories will shock you and others will bore. You will age, you will see them, and see those younger with more talent, fame and wealth and beauty. You compare them to yourself. Know that they and all things harbour these feelings too, and the only story you must pay attention to is your own. As for as you age, my God, Simon, you can't read. Your story grows with greater colour, detail, and size of any you've heard. Never forget that you are the miracle that experiences all of this. And so you get different opinions of things, and it's notable that that specific thing is next to a sun, because if you take the thought of the sun, and I'm now letting the game autoplay, because the game will autoplay for you if you want it to, you've got that thing of like you may be next to the brightest spark in the world, but you're only casting shadows, and those shadows are kind of the thoughts in the back of your mind. And so you can take things down to that kind of like thinking level if you want to, or you can just treat this as a really abstract, weird and wonderful game to play. And there's no right or wrong way to play it. It can keep going right the way up. So you go, we're going up a tier again, and so on and so forth. Or we can, I'm expecting, yeah, we can. You can descend back down, and we can. No, I'm not. You can't do it on this. Can you do it on the sun? Oh, I'm a rocket. Open space gas graphic. There we go. That'd be cool. Let's have several rockets. Let's do a rocket dance, baby. So, is there anything apart from the sun I can get to? No, so I need to travel on anyway. And so, as you can see, it really does make for an unusual... Let's go to a sand planet. And let's descend into it. I don't think I've descended into a sand planet yet. And the vastness of this game is immense. So there you go, you can see that I've not been to a sound planet yet. I'm a Boudin tent. What I'm trying to do at the moment is to go smaller and smaller to show you the other way. So now I'm like a piece of desert grass. And I could descend again to go right the way down to a microscopic start type. So yes, I can be the shell. Be the shell! I can grow quite a few shells. We can go on a little mish together. And here we go. Ah, so here's something. So, you saw the circles were the talking stuff. There you go. I can go smaller again, being... Oh, should I be an insect? We'll do that later. These normally give extra things that you can do. No sculpture ever exists alone or around a scouts off. Things you eat, things you love, things you need a lot, and things you need a little. Everything around you implies your existence. They imply you, Simon! Things are reality's way of saying that you need it for it to be complete, otherwise you could never recognise itself. And so everything you want to stick around. You can now join everything and switch to flock mode by holding left button. Aha! So, events with intervals between them.
And you can say, aha! At last, I see, I got the point. I've seen how all this makes sense. But what this insight depended on was your overcoming the illusion that space separates things. That is to say, the space, the interval between your body and mine. The interval created by birth at one end and death at the other. And then after somebody's death, then somebody else's birth. These are events with intervals between them. And normally we regard these intervals in time and these intervals in space as having no importance, no function. We tend to see the universe itself as really consisting in all the stars and galaxies. That's what it is, that's what we notice. But the space in which all this happens is sort of written off as something that isn't really there. But what one has to realize is that the space is an essential function of the things in the space. After all, you can't have separate stars unless there is a space around them. You eliminate the space and you will see you couldn't have this phenomenon at all. And vice versa. You couldn't have the space. They wouldn't be there in any sense whatsoever if there weren't the bodies in it. So the bodies in the space and the space are two aspects of a single continuum. They're related together in exactly the same way as a back and a front. And you just don't get one without the other.
So, I think I've inadvertently half completed the game just whilst doing this broadcast, so I do apologise for that. But as you can see, it's one of those things that you can just kind of keep going on forever with. There is New Game Plus and stuff like that as well. There's more thought bubbles going on there, and there are trophies and achievements available, as you see. A lot of them are to do with actually just playing around and doing the game. Some of it is less obvious. So, the other things that you can do on this is you can look through all the things that you've ever done and pick your favourites so that you can try and like transform into them. So if you want to be a certain type of fish, like a dolphin running around a dust planet, you can. You've also got autoplay, where you can sit here and talk about how you want to play the game itself. So you can do everything so that the player has zero input. You can basically do like a documentary style and show off all of the different things of what all the different animals and stuff like that do, whilst having all of the like spoken dialogue parts in it as well. Or you can completely turn it to whatever you want it to do. And so essentially, if you don't play with it for a little while, it takes over and goes off anywhere, and you can kind of fine-tune what you want it to do. So if you're looking at trying to get all of the things that you can transform into, or all of the things that you want to ascend and descend into, then you can tweak it for that and just let it go, and it's like the most tripped out screensaver ever in the world. But yeah, I think for me, the proof of everything is just being sucked into the wonder that it gives you as a game. Oh, no, cancel. Because, frankly, I've spent quite a long time just wandering around and being things and being silly. Well, not silly necessarily, but just being amused with whatever it is that I'm doing at the time. And yeah, there's something beautifully abstract about what's going on here, but also like subtly profound. And I'm trying not to sound really wanky, but I can't help it, because it is a bit of a wanky game in that kind of regard. But I love that kind of stuff if it grabs me, and everything really has. It's one of those games that I can't necessarily sit here and go, right, I'm going to recommend that you want to be a floating piece of bacon trapped in an atom, which is what we currently are. Now we're an ice cream. I don't know. It's one of those things that I think if you watch it and experience it and you want to be intrigued by it, I think it's for you. People will look at this and go, what the fuck? And I think you would probably need to pass on it, because you're not going to find what you're looking for here. But if you want something where you can, I don't know, suspend the world and have a wander around it, and I don't know, link dots that don't necessarily have lines between them, then who knows, everything might be a thing. So thank you very much for watching this video here on High Playing Games. I do try to review and show you some of the most weirdest and wonderfulest games out there, and I think I might have done it quite well with this one. And please do stay tuned, there's a video every single day. Take care, bye for now.